Well, it didn't take long, but Icon of the Seas, they've done it. They did it. Also, the most expensive expense for cruise ship employees revealed. And yeah, women finding a hidden camera in their cruise bathroom. Yeah, this is bad. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views. For your face. For your face on a Tuesday the 5th of March, 2024. And man, what a show today. It's the highs, the goodness of humanity, and the depravity of humanity all laid out in the context of cruising. I guess that shouldn't be surprising. That is what life is, especially, in this cruise life where you've got millions of people coming together to do a thing. You're going to have the good, you're going to have the bad, and you're going to have the ugly. No, the good and the bad. But yeah, let's just process through the cruise news and we'll take it as it comes. First, let's talk about the Icon of the Seas doing what cruise ships do. It didn't take long for the Icon of the Seas to become an at-sea hero. On March the 3rd, Icon of the Seas rescued 14 passengers from a makeshift vessel that had been adrift in the ocean for 8 days. Shout out to Michelle, who emailed me these pictures of the rescue as it was happening. And I think most of us know by now that it is the law of the seas that if you are the closest vessel to a vessel in distress, the obligation is on you to help out. And now we've seen it happen for the world's largest cruise ship. Way to go, captain and crew of the Icon. 14 souls plucked from the sea. Cruise news story number 2, quick update about the port of Jacksonville. I told you yesterday morning that the fog had laid over the port of Jacksonville, delaying the return of the Carnival Elation. Well, in the afternoon, the fog cleared out, the port reopened, and the Carnival Elation came in and dropped off passengers. And then they also got all the passengers on board. The all aboard time, 7 p.m. last night. So it does sound like that cruise did kick off, delayed about 5 hours. I heard from somebody that was going to be on the Elation on this cruise saying that their first day was a sea day. And so, that's probably the best case scenario because now they can make up time and get to their first port of call, still have their sea day today. Yeah, sometimes weather will impact a cruise, and sometimes the fog laying in on the harbor, on the river to get to the dock can also cause delay, but sounds like everything's going great for that cruise that left Jacksonville last night. Now, before I get to the next cruise news story, just a quick programming note. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday Night Live. We're back, baby. We're back tonight with 2 live shows, and we got an announcement to make. Some things have changed for Jenny B and I. You got the 8 p.m. show. That is an exclusive private show for people that are members of our Patreon community. $5 a month. You get multiple exclusive live shows. We're talking about shows where 20 to 30 people get together, all your questions answered, asked, all that kind of stuff. You make a little connection with the community. And then at 9 o'clock, we got the big show. The big show. Join Jenny B and I and probably over 1,000 people where we chop it up and we talk about cruising, rapid fire, answer your questions. And like I said, tonight we have a big announcement to make. So please join us for the live shows this evening. And now back to the cruise news. Now let's talk about this interesting story that I've been tracking along with about an entertainer that works on a cruise ship. He has revealed what his expenses are daily on the cruise ship. Cruise ship entertainer Brian James revealed that he spends $411 per month on board, and really for just 2 things. On the daily, he spends $1.72 for 2 cans of soda pop. 2 cans of soda, $1.72, and then he spends $12 a day for the internet. And not a lot of internet, for only about 3 hours worth of internet, $12 per day. And so for 2 sodas and the internet on the daily. He spends $411 per month. It really does highlight the high cost of Wi-Fi, of internet connectivity on cruise ships. We certainly see it as guests, and the crew members certainly see it also. It really is a shame that internet costs that much for crew members. Most of the crew members are from nations from around the world. They've left family members behind to take on 6 months and 8-month contracts. And so, being able to connect and, talk to people at home, probably something that would keep them, in good spirits. But man, you got to fork out $12 a day just to maybe call your wife or something. That would be rough. That would be rough. But it wasn't a surprise. I think for me, the biggest expense that I have on a cruise ship is internet most of the time. I don't really, buy a lot of drinks or anything like that. So, most cruises I'm spending $200 to $400 or $500 for the internet. So I certainly feel the pain of this cruise ship entertainer. Did you think that's what the most expensive expense was going to be? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 4. Let's talk about this conversation that's been going around the internet ever since the big announcement was made that Royal Caribbean's newest cruise ship coming out next, the Utopia of the Seas, the next cruise ship in the Oasis class of cruise ships, is just going to be doing 4-day cruises out of Port Canaveral. Essentially, they're building out a big weekend experience on one of the newest cruise ships in the world and one of the largest cruise ships in the world. And many people that have watched cruising for a long time, they've been scratching their head like, why would Royal Caribbean commit their newest, best hardware to such a short endeavor, to just a 4-day? Like, if you've ever been on an Oasis class cruise ship, there's no way to see the whole thing in 4 days. And traditionally, these short cruises have been on older, smaller hardware. Well, why is Royal Caribbean doing it? And there's a lot of great commentary out there. I've seen 3 articles today. Of course, one from the gold standard of Royal Caribbean commentary, Matt over at the Royal Caribbean blog. But then there's also some other media outlets talking about it. And I think the consensus of the commentary really kind of coalescing around some key ideas that Matt has put forward, that the main reason that they're putting forth their best hardware for a short cruise is to entice new cruisers to try cruising. I remember when we were thinking about going on cruising, it never even crossed our mind to do a 7-day cruise as our first cruise. We didn't know if we would like it. And ironically, for us to take a 4-day cruise back in 2017, we had to go on a cruise ship that was built in the 1900s. And while I'm no hater of old cruise ships, the cruise ship that I chose to go on for my very first cruise broke before it even left the pier. We didn't even leave because it broke down. So this really could be a challenge for trying to get new cruisers on short cruises by sticking them on, 20, 30-year-old hardware. I think Matt says it, you only got one chance to make a first impression. That's the old cliche. And interestingly, if you think about where they're doing it at, in Port Canaveral, it's right there where everybody pops in to go to the theme parks, to go to Disney, to go to Universal. And so when I was thinking about it, the 4-day cruise, this could be a great add-on to a Disney vacation. This could be a great add-on to a Universal vacation. You come down to Orlando, Florida, you spend a few days at the theme park, and then you fit 4 days in on a cruise ship. I think that makes a lot of sense for people. The big pushback is like, well, I'm not traveling to Florida for just a 4-day cruise. I've heard a lot of seasoned cruisers say that. But think about that. If you could do a land and sea where you get the best of both worlds, a really nice theme park and a really great cruise ship, that starts to make a lot of sense. The idea of giving somebody just a little bit of a taste to entice them, to get them hooked, is not a strange concept. It's a very old concept. So it makes a lot of sense. Hey, let's give you a little bit of a taste of a ship that you're not going to be able to see everything in 7 days. And maybe you'll come back on a, comparable ship for 7 days. Or how about this? We got this whole new class, Star of the Seas, Icon of the Seas. If you really want the, full experience, come back for 7 days of that. I think it makes a lot of sense. What do you think? Do you think Royal is shooting the wrong shot here? Do you think this is a strategy that doesn't make sense, that will turn off people that don't want to just fly to Florida for a 4-day cruise? Or can you see I think there's genius in it. Can you see the genius in it? What do you think? Leave a comment below. All right. I've been putting it off as long as I can. We've talked about some of the good in cruising. Let's move over to the bad. I got to tell you about this hidden camera situation. But before we get there, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, Cruise. There's nothing better than cruising. If you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, then I'm your man. Shout out Leonard Cohen. I can't attribute something not. Yeah, shout out Leonard Cohen. Much love to Ludacris. Stay up to date with everything going on in cruising. Click the subscribe button, notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Well, we've had a cruise worker arrested for allegedly hiding hidden cameras in cruise cabins of women and young women. Crazy story played out over the last week on the Symphony of the Seas, where a mother and her daughters discovered a hidden camera in their cruise cabin bathroom. They called security. While they were talking to security, their cabin steward showed up. He was detained and eventually arrested. All of his electronic devices on board the cruise ship were seized. There were materials found on those electronic devices, and now he has been charged with voyeurism and even worse charges than that. It's a despicable, horrible thing. This is alleged. It's a case that's currently under investigation. And so, if found guilty, I hope the severest penalties are handed out. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're on a cruise ship with thousands of people, thousands of guests, thousands of workers, and not everybody in the world is good. I think we all know that. And so, you gotta, it's one of those weird things. I've already Googled today how to find hidden cameras. I found a good article from the security company Norton. I'll leave that linked in the description, but I don't even think about it. I don't think about when I go into a hotel or into a cruise cabin to start, trying to look and see if there's any weird things, cameras. But there are multiple stories out there of cameras being found in hotels and in bathrooms and in, cruise cabins. So just another thing to add to the due diligence list for us cruisers, to be mindful, to be situationally aware. Have you ever encountered anything crazy like this? What do you do when you go into your cruise cabin? Are you checking stuff? Help us out in the community. Leave a comment below. Boom. That is your cruise news. Thanks so much for checking out the episode today. Please hit that like button on the way out. This is Tony for La Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.
Cruise news, cruise news, cruise.